I've been disappointed before, but this was just pitiful. You ever have one of those stories you've read where it's like the revelation was as clear as day? You knew how it was going to happen, or at least you had a good idea of how it was going to happen. And when the revelation finally comes about, the shock value that the writer was hoping to get from you doesn't come. That's what this was like. And, well, I'd have to say how the revelation came about didn't happen as how I expected, and that was kind of disappointing. It was kind of a bit rushed or tacked on. And the revelation itself was like, knew it. Freaking knew it. And that's pretty much what we're about to see with Hulk 22. As I review it today. Now, many of you are probably wondering what this is, and rightfully so. As such, before this review, I will summarize basically how this all began as best and quickly as I can. It's 2007 as the Civil War breaks on the Marvel Universe over registration acts for mutants and metahumans. All of their powers registered, all because they're seen as a threat. Iron Man, of course, is for the registration, and Captain America, keeping true to his nickname of the One True Patriot, is against it. This, of course, results in a few separate events that are launched from the Civil War. Spider-Man unmasks himself and reveals his identity to the world, which leads to his aunt's assassination, and that god-awful saves one more. And the Illuminati, which is a group comprised of Iron Man, Professor Xavier, Professor Strange, Doctor Strange, Mr. Fantastic, Namor, and Black Adam, have sought to send the Hulk into space because they figured no matter which side he was on, it would pretty much be an unfair war. So they practically sent him off to space, which launched off Planet Hulk, which, from what I hear, was widely successful. I'll be sure to pick it up when I get the chance. And in this event, the Hulk arrives on a war-torn planet known as Scar by accident, and pretty much tames it, to say the least. Yeah, he pretty much brings about peace and becomes the king, has a wife and a kid, who accidentally get blown up in the ship he crashed in. This, of course, leads to the event World War Hulk, where an enraged and little more intellectually sound Hulk returns to Earth, declaring war on the Illuminati and practically anyone and everyone who bothers to get in his way. He is, of course, brought down by one of Tony Stark's cannon-formed satellites, thus ending the war, but not after pretty much breaking Doctor Strange's hand and stretching Mr. Fantastic to new lengths and pretty much beating nearly one half to death. At which point, Bruce Banner is taken to what he believes and what everyone believes is S.H.I.E.L.D. when he's actually taken to one of AIM's headquarters for, I want to say testing. That's not really the case. And thus we are introduced to a Red Hulk who claims that he's not Banner, as he practically hijacks S.H.I.E.L.D. telecarrier, hacks into their data system, erases pretty much all the information that they have on the Green Hulk while studying the following future adversaries: Thor, Iron Man, She-Hulk, Silver Surfer, Doctor Strange, and a couple of other heroes who elude me at the moment. While afterwards picking a fight with She-Hulk, beating her, crashing the helicarrier, making his way across town, picking a fight. Well, first he kills the Abomination. Then he picks a fight with She-Hulk, I believe. Then traveling halfway across town, making his way to a military base, running across Rick, who somehow, someway becomes this creature known as A-Bomb. After he beats him, the Red Hulk appears and is beaten by this Red Hulk. And you pretty much get the idea. This guy can pretty much beat the living hoo-ha out of anything and anyone who comes across his path. I mean, heck, according to what I read on the Wizard Universe message boards before it crashed, Thor had obtained the powers of Odin before fighting the Red Hulk. And apparently the Red Hulk managed to beat him with sheer ease. That, of course, before crashing down to Earth and getting beaten by the Green Hulk. Kinda makes you wonder who's stronger, huh? Okay, skip a few issues later, and we cut to the Red Hulk setting up an alliance with MODOK and the Leader, and practically waging war on the world and anyone who gets in their way. Though I am reading from the trade out of sheer convenience, I will go over at least the cover for issue 22 of this series. And to be honest, at least with the cover I got, I will say this is a pretty good cover. It's eye-catching in the sense that it gives you a sense of, intrigue. You kind of wonder how the Hulk's going to get out of this mess since he seems to be bound by a steroid-induced Spider-Man and a werewolf-changed Wolverine. And to be quite honest, as we'll see, this scene is kind of an over-exaggerated version of what actually goes on in the comic, which is a 2-for-1 winner, I guess. The comic, of course, begins with the Red Hulk monologuing about how he feels betrayed by the Intellectia for practically ruining his ideals and turning his plan into, oh my lord. That is a hulked out version of the Thing, Cyclops, and Thor. Why? Just why? I'm sorry, but when I heard World War Hulks, I thought they would actually, create some original characters in terms of the Hulks. But seeing as how Marvel is a bit of a stickler when it comes to, having OCs in their canon universe, we have to get stuck with this. So anyway, the Red Hulk monologues about how this plan should have left him in charge. Well, sadly, they decide to turn on him and say, nope, we want to be the ones in charge. Kinda sounds familiar to me. Our next page is a 2-page spread of the Thor Hulk striking Red Hulk with his hammer, saying that he's going to kill him, while the Red Hulk retorts that he's not going down. Aside from that, we have the Red Hulk continuing his inner monologue of how these creatures were created as a fusion and of gamma and cosmic radiation, and as a means to turn them into the hulked out heroes that they are. He also deposits that they also use the catharsis ray, which dates back to the origins of Doc Samson, A-Bomb, and of course himself. In our next scene, the Red Hulk is once again getting the hoo-ha beaten out of him by Thor Hulk, and I'm really getting tired of calling him that, so I'm just calling him Thor. As he deposits, or as he explains that how Banner would prattle on about how there's a Hulk inside of us all. Gee, I think I just found the excuse as to why all this crap was done. and of course, the Intellectia have found a way to do that with each one of these heroes. By far, this is the dumbest thing I've seen in a while, but I'll get to that later. And of course, well, as you can see, the Red Hulk is losing this fight. And of course, Thor says the Red Hulk stopped him once, never again. If I recall correctly, he got his revenge in the 6th issue, but what do I know? And of course, on the next page, the Red Hulk is still getting the living tar beaten out of him by the Mjolnir, wielded by the Hulk-empowered Thor. And as much as I love the feel of this fight sequence, it almost feels like padding at this point. I don't know why. Maybe it's just my impatience. And of course, as Thor is about to land the final blow to kill the Red Hulk, we get a thunder strike or lightning strike from Hulk Storm. And of course, Thor is pissed, pretty much asking who dares to steal this moment from Thor. And at which point, Storm replies, "I dare. You want to know why? Because as you are the god of lightning, I am the goddess of lightning." Y'all already know I have a problem with this, right? As far as I know, there is no way on earth, heaven, or hell Storm would ever call herself the goddess of lightning. Now, of course, when she was in Africa, her fellow villagers may have called her that, but she was too humble to even think of herself like that. If you ask me, I think all this massive Hulkness is getting to her brain. Wait. And while pretty much figuring that this war won't be won by the strongest, but merely the smartest, or rather in his case the most cunning, he tries to use his cunning and wit to goad Miss Marvel and Captain America into attacking him before throwing them into each other and getting stabbed by an invisible blade. We then see apparently a hulked out thing, Invisible Woman and Human Torch attack the Red Hulk because, hey, he took Reed Richards from them. So, instinctively, they're pissed. So, in being the master strategist he believes himself to be, the Red Hulk knocks a thing and the Invisible Woman before causing Iceman and Torch to turn on each other before grabbing Cyclops for a special purpose: cleaning house. Meanwhile, the evil half of Doc Samson's personality, he had a split personality thing going on in this series where when his hair would grow long, he'd be evil, but when it was short, he'd be good. Whatever, we don't care. Anyway, he was having a debate with MODOK and the leader, basically saying that none of what they're doing was a part of the original plan, and of course MODOK and the leader are basically saying, hey, there are certain things about this plan that we didn't even tell you or the big red man downstairs, beating the living hoo-ha out of everybody. And of course, Doc Samson takes issue with this. So in a way, it's pretty much your typical villain and alliance from like the early 90s cartoons. Huzzah. And so, wounded Red Hulk makes his way to Banner and the other smart individuals who were kidnapped by the Intellectia for whatever reason was not quite clearly explained, before he's yanked into a web by two rather familiar silhouettes. At which point we are about to get to the point at which I had been waiting for throughout this entire comic. No, really, I've been waiting to see the front cover of issue 22 in this comic. And now I'm about to. I'm so friggin' happy. Somewhat, because I want to see how he gets out of it. And I'm pretty sure y'all do too. So, of course, we cut to Spider-Man saying that he's got the Red Hulk in his web as a lycanthrope-esque Wolverine is about to gut the Red Hulk. And at this point, the Red Hulk has had just about all he can stand. Oh, and trust me, I'm getting there. Slowly but surely. So, since his body temperature starts to rise upon being enraged, he decides to use that to his advantage and, I assume, start to melt the web. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, with the Red Hulk, his body radiates massive amounts of gamma energy. In other words, the madder he gets, the hotter he gets, which tires him out. So he decides to use that to his advantage, tangles both Spider-Man and Wolverine into a ball, and then hurls them through a wall. Genius. After going through an explosion, he starts to wearily make his way towards the Intellectia before getting knocked to the ground by a red foot. Oh, great. This only means one thing. The Red She-Hulk has come to kill the Red Hulk. $10 says none of y'all can guess who she is. So once again, we cut to Samson being pissed, screaming at the leader and MODOK because they brought this Red She-Hulk in, and he pretty much says that she can't handle what she's about to do. At which point they just say, we don't care, and they try to kill him, or they at least knock him out. Have you guessed the Red She-Hulk's identity yet? I'm assuming most of you who are aware of the Marvel comic book universe have. As for those of you who haven't, well, if you're familiar with the Hulk, you probably figured it out by now. So a battle-weary Red Hulk tries to fight his feminine counterpart and gets his head handed to him. I'd talk smack about him at this point, but I'm pretty sure if he weren't tuckered out, he'd probably be winning this fight. Maybe. If he didn't have that odd feeling of familiarity about her. And so, as she holds the Red Hulk by his neck, she practically plans to drain him of all of his gamma energy. Yeah, I forgot to mention this at the beginning of the review. This is an ability that they both seem to share. Their power comes from their ability to drain energy from practically any other power source, mostly organic. They can drain cosmic energy from a person, they can drain gamma energy from a person, and basically gain strength from it. And this is where we finally see the Red Hulk's true identity. General Thunderbolt Ross! No. 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 Just no. 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 Okay, just no. Okay, here's the problem I have. You see, and largely, I'm at fault on this, because back in 2008, 2009, I would visit the Wizard Universe message boards a lot. And of course, there were many theories as to who the Red Hulk was. Some said it was Glenn Talbot. Many pointed to it being General Thunderbolt Ross. Why? Because he's the only one who has the biggest grudge against the Hulk. In issue 4, he pretty much smashed a retina scanning robot, which some pointed out that Ross didn't like having his retina scanned for military identification. And of course, he killed the Abomination, who poisoned Betty. And he also has this catchphrase, this key insult that he always uses, gutless milksop, which, if you were looking at the pages earlier, is what he called Banner. And so this revelation, if you're a comic book nerd like myself who discusses this thing with other comic book nerds, it didn't come as a surprise to you. But if you're like my brother or my dad who isn't into all this comic book nerdy stuff, upon reading this and finding this out, it comes as a shock to you. And issue 22 was a bit of a disappointment for me. The revelation of the Red Hulk being General Ross really didn't come as that big of a surprise. But at least they gave, I want to call it exposition, to kind of catch you up to speed, because honestly, before picking up issue 22, I didn't get issues 13 through 21. And if you like a good action-based comic book that has a lot of action and some story mixed into it, I want to recommend this. And I want to say that issues 23 and 24 were as big of a disappointment, but they surprised me in many ways that I want to congratulate and strangle all at the same time. But I'll get to those at a later date, as since it's October, I have a Halloween review series that's long overdue, so stay tuned for that.